Let's come home to our community. Home to the breath. Finding the stillness. The light and the stillness that unites us all. We each possess an inner resource of wisdom, resilience, strength, a place of deep peace and ease, and great joy and light. When we're connected to that place, there isn't self-doubt. We know from our core who we are and what to do. Who would you be if you trusted the basic goodness and beauty that lives within you? How would you go through life differently if you trusted your inherent goodness and value as a being in this universe? Let's do some Durga breaths, some 3-part yogi breaths, breathing into the belly, into the mid-body, and into the upper body. Maybe you want to activate that victory breath or ujjayi breath by closing off the throat a little bit and making a sound. Today we're going to talk about self-trust, cultivating self-trust. Trust in the inherent goodness within you. Observing the self deep down, like a neutral witness. Not judging, not expecting anything. Compassion and self-love allow the self to unfold, to step out into the light. Compassion and self-love show us who we really are. We need a practice, a daily practice, to understand our internal environment. Unprocessed emotions steal self-trust. I'm going to say that again. Unprocessed emotions steal self-trust. Honor the voice within. Learn from mistakes with compassion. And we're going to do a 6-part inhale, a 4-part sustain, an 8-part exhale, and a 4-part retain. So let's inhale to the count of 6. Retain the breath for 4. Exhale to the count of 8. Sustain that for 4. Inhale 6. Retain 4. Exhale 8. Continue that to your own count, your own rhythm. Breath work is called pranayama, and pranayama is an integral part of yoga. When we use the long inhale and the longer exhale, we're actually engaging the parasympathetic nervous system for bringing ourselves to a state of relaxation. And it's through relaxation that we can begin to cultivate the self, to know the self better, to allow emotions to be released without judgment, without fear. So let's do 2 more rounds of that long inhale, pause, exhale, pause. Now I'd like you to come to your back, and we're going to do we're going to make a column with our arms, and we're going to receive. Yeah, lie on your back with your knees bent up, the soles of the feet on the floor. Take your arms to the vertical, fingertips towards the ceiling, hands facing each other. Relax shoulder blades as if they're feet in the ground. Gaze up into the column between the sky above and your heart below. Will look like this. Look up to the sky above, and you've just made a column between the sky and the heart. What would you like to draw in? How would you like to be with yourself? Breathe it in now. What would you like to draw in? How would you like to be with yourself? Now fold your arms over your chest and give yourself a hug. We know from research that even as we hug ourselves, that touch is healing. Cross your arms so the hands come to the opposite shoulders and give yourself a squeeze. Breathe in to the space between your shoulder blades. And then allow your arms to unfold and release them back to the floor, palms up. When you do that, you create a space at the back door of the heart where loving energy originates in the heart chakra. This helps loving energy to flow from your heart into your hands. And now place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And as you inhale, say, I let love in. I give love out. Breathe in through the heart. Breathe out through the heart. I breathe love in. I breathe love out. Now let's come to seated. Maybe on a blanket. Maybe just putting the edge of the sits bones on the blanket. And what this does is it allows the pelvis to roll over, puts the knees a little lower than the hips, and that helps us keep our spine long. And let's circle the spine. So interesting that studies have shown that when we're compassionate toward the self, it's easier for us to make changes we want to make. And let's go the other way. Waking up energy, moving energy up the spine. Yoga's all about moving energy. Let's bring our legs out. Something that we would like to change about ourselves, but can we reframe it? Where our legs are extended out, we're going to walk our hands forward. We're going to lead with the sternum. And let's come back upright. Now place the palms of the hands on either side of the hips. Press into the feet, into the backs of the legs. Press into the palms of the hands. Bring the belly in toward the spine. Lift the belly up and under the ribs. Tuck the chin just slightly. Shoulders are back and down. Can you do that all at once? So there's a behavior that we would like to change, but can we reframe it? Can we think of it not as that bad thing we do or that awful thing, or I don't understand why we do that, blah, 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 blah. No. Can we say that any habit that we have or behavior that we have that is not life supporting, we learned that pattern. And maybe it's a symptom of suffering, not a bad part of ourselves. Can we separate that behavior from the self, from the sense of the true self? Can we see it as an objective witness? Can we see ourselves with love? Good. Okay, let's come to table. I'll do a little bit with the spine, a little more with the spine. So, seeing the self with love, being able to hug the self, to draw love in just as we give love out. Lower the belly and look up. Exhale and arch the back. More self-critical are less likely to make changes in their life. People who set about to make changes with self-compassion are far more successful. It's not like, we grew up and we thought, oh, you must do this and you must do that. And if you don't, it's a terrible thing. And oh my. And so sometimes we do it anyway because it just seems daunting. Let's push the hips back to the sits bones. Stretch the arms out. Take hold of the mat on either side. Pull the mat away. Stretch through the underarms. Feel the belly and the as it moves against the thighs. Yoga is about moving energy, and it's very much about getting to know ourselves, about coming inside. Let's come to table, and we're going to bring the right foot between the hands, and let's lift up. Now notice, we begin by bringing the hands together. And when we bring the hands together, when we pull everything toward the midline, what we're doing is we're bringing ourselves inward to become a self-observer. Raise the arms, maybe clasp fingers, maybe a back bend. Pulling everything toward the midline means channeling energy inward instead of outward. Lower the hands to the mat. Bring the right knee back. Tuck the toes, lift up. We're in down dog. Even here, can you isometrically bring the eyes of the elbow toward each other? Allow the heart to open and fall toward Mother Earth, receiving the protection and the love that Mother Earth is always there to give. Let's step the left foot between the hands. Let's lower the right knee. Once again, bring the hands to the heart, pulling everything to midline. We're isometrically pulling the inside of the thighs toward each other. Raise the arms up, clasp the fingers, maybe a back bend. Opening up, being open to who we really are. Not all the layers of trouble and sadness and disappointment that have clouded that from us. Good. And lower your hands to the mat. Bring your left knee back. Come back to child's pose. Take several deep breaths. We're going to come back to table, tuck the toes under, and lift the hips into down dog. Let's just shake the head from side to side, maybe up and down. Let's just shake off negativity. Just shake off fear, things that cause us to belittle ourselves. Let's step the right foot between the hands. Step the left foot between the hands. We are in forward fold, giving the heart a break here. Use your Ujjayi breath, that victory breath. It's a vibration that is calming. Forward folds are very calming. Lift up into a half lift, long spine. Exhale, fold over. Arms wide, flat back, coming all the way up. Hands overhead and hands to the heart. Let's find our Tadasana, our mountain pose. Bring your hands to your heart. We choose to love this body. I am strong. I am vibrant. And I choose to love this body. I let love in. I give love out. So we will step to the top of the mat, setting up for warrior one. Do it this way. Let's step the right foot back. Position it for warrior one. Bend the left knee. We're still pulling everything to the midline. Raise the arms. Allow the tailbone is moving toward the earth, the crown of the head toward the sky. We're actually stretching the spine in two directions. We'll lower the hands and let's put the hands on the hips. Pick up the right foot and step it forward. Step the right foot out. We're on railroad tracks. We have a shorter distance between the feet. We're going to fold over with a long spine. Bringing your hands to your thighs or to your blocks, chin, or to the ground. We have a saying in yoga, it's I bow to the child teacher within. Om Namah Shivaya. And I find that true self that was created to be loving and good and beautiful. It gets lost sometimes because we're so busy running here and there and doing this and doing that, trying to measure up, or maybe trying to disappear. We're going to bring our weight to the front foot. For me, it's the left foot. And you might want blocks here. You could come up on blocks. Or, I'm going to give it a try. You could come upright, lengthen the arms, raise the right leg. You could do it this way. So warrior three, Virabhadrasana 3. Or you could bring your hands to blocks or the mat and do it this way. Breathe. I breathe in love. I give out love. When we feel loving toward ourselves, it's so much easier to feel loving to other people. Lower the right foot, and we'll come up with a flat back. So we're going to go to the other side of the mat. We'll do the same thing again. I'm standing at the front of the mat. Oh, let's just take a moment for mountain, pressing into the 4 points of the soles of the feet. Lift the toes, spread the toes apart, lower the back. So just pulling everything to the midline, bringing energy inward, bring our attention inward, getting to know ourselves, noticing the feelings that emotions evoke, watching them with a quiet mind, with patience, allowing those emotions to be expressed. Step the left foot back into warrior one. So I'm going to bend my foot over my ankle, lift my arms, maybe have a back bend. Yoga is such a good way to cultivate mindfulness. We do it by noticing the breath. And let's lower the hands, pick up the back foot, step it forward, it up. We're going to do a pyramid pose here, Parsvottanasana. Maybe you have your blocks and you'll come down. Maybe you'll come down to your thighs or shins. Okay, here we go with a flat back. We're folding over. A student said to me recently that other people ask her why we just tell people to breathe so much in yoga. And she said, I love it because I need to be reminded to breathe. Well, breath work, pranayama, is just a central, absolutely central part of yoga practice. So it's the combination of the asana, the movement, and the breath that can bring our body to a state of calm and peace and stillness, can give us the trust that we need to allow emotions that are unresolved to surface, to be expressed, to be released. Now we're going to try that Warrior 3 again. And you can do it by walking your hands out, just lifting your legs, maybe coming up on blocks like this. Or if you want, you can try to do it upright, which is what I'm going to try to do with a prop, my own prop here. Well, maybe not. Trusting myself, listening to myself. Let's lower that foot down and we'll shake it out. Whoa. I let love in again. Then we'll step to the middle of our mat. Take a moment of calm or quiet, stillness. Notice the breath. Then we're going to separate the feet. We're going to come into goddess. But we're going to do goddess with a different hand motion. You know, when we do mudras, when we do like we did this one in the last class, this one, or we're often bringing energy and the attention toward the midline, bringing everything in. So our attention is inward. It's not on the other people around. So I'm going to place one hand on my belly and one hand on my heart in goddess pose. I breathe in through the heart I breathe out through the heart. I let love in. And when I let love in, when I can love myself, I can love other people. I give love out. When it comes to making a change, self-compassion is your greatest source of strength. Recognize yourself inside, fundamentally perfect, instead of focusing on your flaws. Notice your negative patterns, but can you do it without judgment? The behavior you want to change is a symptom of suffering. It's not a bad part of yourself. You are not the behavior. When you feel self-critical, notice how you feel in your body and in your mind. And let's come upright. We'll walk the feet together. And we're going to come to our mat. Oh no, I want to do another pose first. A couple other standing poses before we go down. Okay. We're going to come back to that goddess pose, but we're going to do it in a slightly different way. It's called a humble horse. So separate the legs, bend the knees, bring your arms behind your back, clasp your hands, lengthen through the spine, and fold forward. And we'll come up from there. We'll do a warrior 2. And then we'll come back to the mat. Oh, let's separate the legs. I'm turning my left toe toward the short end of the mat. And those of you who are practicing with me today know this routine, but let's bring the right hip back, the left hip forward. Make the front of the body parallel to the long side of the mat. Your back foot is parallel to the short end of the mat, and then pick it up the toe and bring it in maybe just a tiny bit. Let's bend the left knee. Whoa. We have incredible strength and we have power in our thighs. We can thank our legs. Oh my goodness, for what they do for us. It's incredible. I've worked with a lady who has spinal bifida and her legs don't function like this at all. You know, standing poses are very important, and they're important part of every practice because it's the standing poses that give us strength, that build strength. Hands on the hips, parallel the feet, and let's turn the right toe out toward the short end of the neck. Okay, we're going to bring the left hip back and the right hip forward, bending the right knee. I'm going to pick up my left toe and just angle it slightly. I'm going to try to parallel my body. I've been noticing when I take classes, it's not that I watch people, but I've been noticing a lot of people arch their back here instead of bringing the belly to the spine, maybe lifting the pubic bone a little bit. And my right knee wants to fall in. We're going to hold this for a minute or two, but be sure to breathe. Bringing that left hip back. Your arms are active. They're engaged. They're warrior arms. Energy's flowing through your arms. Bring your hands to your hips. We're going to parallel the feet. And we're going to walk the feet together. Whoa. So we'll step to the top of our mat. Let's find stillness here. Shoulders are back and lower down to forward fold, and then we'll come onto our inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Lift up halfway, open the chest. Bring the shoulders back and down. And fold over. And let's come to our belly. You want to start out in a forearm plank. So your elbows are on the mat. Your forearms are on the mat. And lift the body, come up on the toes. Even here, we're isometrically pulling to the middle. Let's lower down. We're going to stack our hands under our forehead. Take the glasses off if you have them. Now, bring your toes together and you're kind of resting the flexion joints. Something outside yourself. From being taught in a way that we don't let it go. Find enough of it. That's fine. the child teacher within. Listen to intuition, if you want to call it that. Wash away the grime and slime and whatever it is. And come below all that. You can do that with your breath and with your movement, with stillness. All right. So we're going to try a bow pose. We're going to roll over on our backs. It's an interesting pose for some of us, but if maybe you just sit up on your bones, back a bit, place your hands on your, and this is a great beginning, right here. It's these core muscles that in the belly, but the core is not just the belly, it's the side muscles, it's the back muscles, it's all of the torso. And you can identify which core muscles are starting to work for you. Lift your knees. Make your legs parallel to the floor if you like. Maybe bring your arms out straight or not. Listen to your body. There is nothing good that's going to come from you doing something that you don't feel ready to do, that your body is actually telling you, don't do that. Gradually, it will find you. We like to say the pose will find you. Cross your legs and let's get to the mat or to a block in a counter pose. And let's try that bow again. You don't have to. You know what you could do? You could lie down on your back in a mini shavasana, and that would be, if your body is saying that's what's right for you, then that would be the thing to do. Because we're learning, we're coming inside, we're getting to know who we are. We don't listen to ourselves. When will we ever know? You do the bow that's right for you, or not. Don't do a bow. All right, cross the legs the other way, come forward, maybe to a block, maybe to the mat. How many times do you do what other people are telling you you should do, and it just doesn't seem right to you? Come inside, come to stillness. Peel away the onion skin of things that we were taught about ourselves that are not life supporting. Release whatever emotion that may be stored in our body from experiences that were hurtful. And let's come up. We're going to come up on our knees and we're going to try a bow first, and then we're going to try a camel. So let's come to our belly. If you like to use a loop around your feet and pull on the rope, you can. Or you could bend your knees and maybe bring your hands back to your ankles or not. And this might be it for you today. This might be your bow, and that's great. Or I hope I can. If you like, lift up and breathe. Notice the sensations in the body. That's all part of getting to know yourself. And let's lower down. And here again, we'll bring the toes together and the heels apart. Stack the hips. I'm sorry. Stack the hands. Bring the forehead to the hands. You're in crocodile. Relaxation pose. I say it all the time. I'll say it again. Coming to relaxation is essential to bringing all that good work you've been doing to a cellular level. Coming to rest and relaxation is essential in developing higher consciousness as well. Think about when you're in a state of fright or flight, you're not seeing clearly. You're certainly not in touch with yourself entirely for very long. You just do what you have to do, and it has its place. You can't stay that way for a long time. It will make you sick. Now let's come up to hero's pose. Actually, we're going to come up to our knees. We're going to work on camel today. It's sometimes good to have a block on either side of your feet, like that, to come back to in camel. Or let's just see what we can do. It's always a mystery, from one day to the next, what our body's going to be able to do. So I'm going to float my upper body forward. I'm going to begin to fold in the upper back. And then it's my legs that are going to do this work. Imagine that your hip bones are against the wall and they're steady. And maybe bring one arm back to your block or to your ankle. And I haven't mastered two arms, but I like to bring my left arm out. I take love in, I give love out. Let's come upright again. I'm going to try to bring the other arm. Wherever you can get, that's what you celebrate. Whatever your body is ready for today, that's what you celebrate. That's all part of that coming to love yourself, coming to be there for yourself in a compassionate way. So here we go, maybe. It is really true that over time, poses that we think we'll never be able to do, they begin to find us. We don't fight our way into a pose. And let's come up. Whoa, we let it find us. So we're going to come to seated. Let's do a forward fold, a seated forward fold. I think it helps if you separate the legs, generally speaking. And maybe this is all the farther you can go. And you say, yay, thank you, body. I love you, body. Thank you for that. And then, another day you'll be practicing and you'll say, how did that happen? Okay, lengthen through the spine. Keep breathing and let's walk forward. As far as we can go, maybe you'd like to walk forward and place your head on a block. Or not. We're going to do 8 rounds of breath here, okay? So you find a place that's right for you, not a place where you're gripping to hold on. I honor the child teacher within. Let's walk back up. And we are going to come to a down dog and a pigeon before Shavasana. So, we'll come to table first. The toes under, lift the hips. Downward facing dog. I notice that this down dog feels really more fluid after doing that wide-legged forward fold. By the end of the class, it's amazing what our bodies will do, right? Lift the right leg, bend the right knee, bring it forward. We're going to bring the right knee to the right thumb, walk the left leg back. We're going to lengthen through the spine. And then we're going to fold over. Now, it's very likely that your right hip doesn't want to touch down. It will eventually. Maybe under that right hip, or better yet, a blanket under that right hip will feel good. If you bring this foot out a little bit, you're going to get a deeper stretch. And here we lower down into what we call sleeping swan and yin yoga, or recline pigeon and yang yoga, whatever. Keep breathing. One thing that helps in yoga sometimes is to come out of a pose and come back in it. If you know you've gone too far, then kind of back off. See, it's different for everybody, and it's really, really not up to the teacher. It's really up to you to find your place, to find your voice, find your spirit. Hands on the mat, tuck the toe. I'm sorry. Yeah, tuck the back toe, lift up into split dog. And lower that foot down. Maybe pedal the dog. Good. Let's lift the left leg. Bend the left knee, bring it to your body. Float over shoulders over hands, left knee to left thumb. Walk the right leg back. Place a blanket under the left hip if that feels good or not. Maybe pull the right foot forward, out and forward, maybe not. Play with it. We're going to fold over. I take love in, I give love out. The flaws that I see in myself are maybe developed because of suffering, maybe developed as a child for self-protection. They become patterns. And we see our true self as separate from those learned behaviors, those conditioned behaviors. And we see those behaviors with love, with patience. And know that's not who we really are. So we're going to come back up, hands under shoulders, tuck the toe, back into split dog, lower the foot. And the mat, find a way to Shavasana. Now, one thing that you might do is just place a thin blanket under your head, or you might want to place a rolled blanket under your knees. You know what you like. Give yourself that. Palms are relaxed. If you like, you can stay here for 5 or 10 or 20 minutes. Just click off. We're pushing up against the time that I have. So if you choose to stay here, please do that, because this is when everything comes together. It's said that Shavasana is the most important pose of all. Otherwise, you can bend your knees. You can roll over. I say to your right because there's a gland at your right that doesn't get stimulated very often. So in traditional yoga classes, we fold to the right into a fetal position. We do that purposely so that we can take a moment, feel how we feel. And then when we do come up, we're going to come up in such a way that our head comes up last. Use your right elbow, your left hand, push up, head comes up last. Find yourself a comfortable seated position. Om Namah Shivaya. I bow to the child teacher within. Thank you for practicing with me. If you like to Om, that is a seal on a yoga class. Seals the class. Om. May all creatures everywhere know peace and happiness. Namaste.